Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrate 76 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015-2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Well-being. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
The blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. Today, we are commemorating International Day of Conscience with the theme promoting a culture of peace and love with conscience. The preamble of Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted in barbarous acts which outrage the conscience of humankind and the advent of a world in which human beings shall enjoy freedom of speech and belief and freedom from fear and want has been proclaimed as the highest aspiration of the common people. Moreover, Article 1 of the Declaration states that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity, and rights are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. The task of the United Nations to save future generations from the scourge of war requires transformation towards a culture of peace which consists of values, attitudes, behaviors, and that reflect, inspire social interaction and sharing based on the principles of freedom, justice, and democracy. All human rights, tolerance, and solidarity that reject violence and endeavor to prevent conflicts by tackling their root causes to solve problems through dialogue and negotiation, and that guarantee the full exercise of all rights and the men means to participate fully in the development process of the society. Conscious of the need for the creation of conditions of stability and well being and peaceful and friendly relations based on respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms for all without distinction as to race, sex, language, or religion, the General Assembly declared 5th April the Day of Conscience. The General Assembly invited all the member states, organizations of the United Nations system, and other international and regional organizations, as well as the private sector and civil society, including non governmental organizations and individuals, to build the culture of peace with love and conscience in accordance with the culture and other appropriate circumstances or customs of their local, national, and regional communities, including through quality education and public awareness raising activities, thereby fostering sustainable development. Origins of culture of peace. The concept of culture of peace emerged from the International Congress of Peace in Minds of Men, organized by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in Cote d'Ivoire in July 1989. Since then, the promotion of culture of peace has increasingly been seen as a worthwhile objective of the international community. The evolving concept has inspired activities and so many levels and in so many regions with full participation of civil society that the culture of peace is gradually taking on the characteristics of global movement. So within the United Nations system, the concept dates back to the Constitution of the United Nations, Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organizations, UNESCO, adopted more than 50 years ago, wherein that organization is called upon to construct the defenses of peace in the minds of men, because a peace based exclusively upon the political and economic arrangements of governments would not be a peace which could secure the unanimous, lasting, sincere support of the people of the world, and the peace must therefore be founded. It is not to fail upon the intellectual and moral solidarity of mankind. The task of constructing of a culture of peace requires comprehensive educational, cultural, social, and civic action in which person has something to learn, something to give and share. It addresses all ages and all groups. It's an open-minded global strategy with a specific purpose named to make a culture peace inseparable from culture per se and to have root in people's hearts and minds. People peace is not only the absence of differences and conflicts. It is a positive, dynamic, participative process linked intrinsically to democracy, justice, and development, for all which differences are respected, dialogue is encouraged, and conflicts are constantly transformed by non-violent means into avenues of cooperation. Based on this broadcast and most positive meaning of peace, a culture of people is set of values, attitudes, traditions, and customs, mode of behavior, and ways of life that reflect and are directed towards respect for life, for human beings and their rights, the rejection of violence in all forms, the recognition of the equal rights of men and women, the recognition of rights of everyone to freedom of expression, opinion, information, attachments to the principles of democracy, freedom, justice, development for all, tolerance, solidarity, pluralism, and acceptance of different and understanding between nations, between ethnic, religious, cultural, and other groups, and between individuals. The United Nations Education, Educational, scientific, and cultural organization, the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations, play an important role in fostering the intercultural dialogue. They conduct activities related to culture of peace and nonviolence and make efforts in promoting a culture of peace through a number of practical projects in the areas of youth, education, media, and migration in collaboration with governments, international organizations, foundations, civil society groups, as well as the media and the private sector. So, with this, we shall end today's commemoration here and see you all tomorrow at 6 o'clock with the same joining link. Take care. Good night.